The terrifyingly true story of how a woman hearing voices told her that she had brain cancer. Back in England in the 1990s, a woman was at home reading when she heard a voice telling her, "Don't be afraid, I am a friend." She thought she was going crazy, so she went out to go seek psychological help. She appeared to be cured after receiving some therapy. But a couple weeks later, she went on vacation and heard the voice again, but this time there were two. Told her to return to England because there was something seriously wrong with her. They even gave her an address to go to, which was a brain scan department. The woman persuaded her husband to go drive her there. And after they did testing, a brain tumor was discovered. She was able to get it removed and healed fully. But as she was waking up from the surgery, she heard the voice one final time, in which they said, "We are pleased to help you. Goodbye." And yes, this is a real true story. You can look it up. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget, beware of fake car crashes. One night, an ex-military man was driving down a dark road when he saw what appeared to be a car crash. However, he noticed that the car really wasn't that damaged, but he did see two bodies laying on the road. As he was approaching the bodies on the road, he felt a very off-putting feeling. He noticed that the two bodies that were laying on the road were completely unharmed, as well as the car. It was at that moment that he saw someone peeking behind a tree from behind the car, and that's when he immediately started driving past the car. But when he looked through his rearview mirror, he saw 10 people coming out of the forest chasing after his car. I know most of us have an inclination to go and help people, but please be cautious, and if you have a gut feeling, it's usually true. Don't forget to follow, like, and comment, and be safe out there, guys. This is the true story of Mary Bell, the 11-year-old serial killer. It all started in Britain in 1968 when she strangled two 11-year-old boys. Some people claim she was this way because she came from a broken home where her mom was a teenage sex worker and her dad was also a criminal himself. She was arrested during her second murder, and all she had to say was, "That's all right by me." During her trial, people said that she had zero sign of remorse. Even the psychiatrist described her as dangerous and manipulative. She served 12 years in prison and even briefly escaped for a short period of time. When she was released, she was granted anonymity, meaning they gave her a new name and let her back out into society. Later on, she had a daughter of her own, and in 2009, it was reported that she was a grandma. Wow. Let me know if you guys want to hear more true crime stories in the comments, and don't forget to follow and like. Have a blessed day. John List, the guy who almost got away with murdering his whole family. John murdered his 3 kids, wife, and his own mother in 1971 in their New Jersey mansion. After doing so, he fled town and the bodies weren't discovered until a month later, and these are his 3 kids. John disappeared, got remarried, and got away with it for 18 years. But he only got caught due to the help of America's Most Wanted. He claimed to have only killed his whole family because they were in crushing debt. According to his psychologist, all that he saw in his head was to either go on welfare or kill his whole family. Crazier is that there is a skylight in this house that was from Tiffany's, worth enough to completely get rid of his debt. But it is still unclear if John actually knew that at that time, because John died in 2008 after serving 5 consecutive life sentences with no parole. Wow. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, and don't forget to follow and like. Jack the Ripper. A name everybody knows with a face that no one can recognize. However, many people believe that he escaped to Australia and that is where he died. There's a theory that Jack the Ripper is an Englishman named Frederick Bailey Deeming, who supposedly fled from Britain in July of 1891, but not before slaughtering his wife and children, leaving them buried underneath his floorboards. And upon his arrival to Australia, he supposedly claimed his next victim, a local woman who he disposed of in Melbourne and then ran off into the wilderness. Now, Frederick was eventually caught and hanged in Australia, but the brutality of his crimes led many people to think that him and Jack the Ripper were one and the same. Hotel Monte Vista. Opened in Flagstaff, Arizona in 1927 with a plethora of guests who never left. Most well known for the ghost that lives in room 305. This room was occupied by an old woman who was the long-term renter, who would sit in a rocking chair for hours at a time every single day. Now, a majority of people who stay in that room claim to see the rocking chair moving by itself at night, some even seeing her apparition sitting in the chair. Other crazy paranormal activity that happens at this hotel includes the sound of screaming infants coming from the basement, the ghost of bellboys knocking on doors announcing room service, the ghost of 2 prostitutes from the 1940s who were thrown out of their hotel room window, and the meat man of room 220. who would hang raw meat from his chandelier in his hotel room and stare out the window at people, later to be found dead on his bed with no known cause. Let me know if you guys would ever stay in any of these rooms down in the comments below, and be sure to follow because I have a very new cool series, The Craziest Conspiracies of the Denver Airport. Let's start with the statue that everybody sees when you first go there, the blue Mustang with glowing red eyes. Ironically enough, it killed the man who made it. In 2006, the blue Mustang's head fell off, landed on the guy, and busted the artery in his leg. Second thing, it is the world's third largest airport with only 4 runways, oddly placed in the shape of a swastika. Here's a picture without the markings just for reference. Also the weird murals and paintings on the walls there, which shows a Nazi-like looking soldier with a gun and a sword stabbing a dove, which, in case you didn't know, a dove is a symbol of peace. A huge plaque with a Freemason symbol, supposedly made by the New World Airport Commission, which, funny enough, Google it, it doesn't exist. The only thing that comes up are all these different conspiracy theories. There are a million things about this airport, so let me know if you want a part 2. Conspiracies about the Denver Airport Part 2. 1. Apparently people have named this horse Blucifer, and apparently he is supposed to be a nod at the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Number 2. Speaking of the apocalypse, apparently there are lots of different murals and paintings hinting at a future apocalypse. And when taking a closer look, you can see birds in cages, dead animals, sad children, and somebody in a casket. Like, why would this be in a public airport? Also, a whole bunch of different underground tunnels and bunkers underneath this airport that supposedly stretch out to over 100 miles long. Even reports of there being an underground morgue. And because of all this crazy secret stuff going on, people claim that the government has deemed this area Area 52. And due to the fact that Area 51 is kind of already figured out about, people are saying that this is going to be the new testing site. Hence the morgue, the underground tunnels, the bunkers. Here are some unknown facts about the Winchester Mystery Mansion. The Winchester Mystery House has over 160 rooms, including 40 bedrooms, 40 staircases, 13 bathrooms, 6 kitchens, 10,000 window panes, 2,000 doors, 52 skylights, 47 fireplaces, 3 elevators, 2 basements, and only 1 shower. Number 2 being the house is under non-stop construction for over 38 years. Number 3, Sarah Winchester was obsessed with the number 13. All of her staircases had 13 steps, there's 13 parts in her will, and she signed it 13 times. And 13 bathrooms with 13 windows of its own. Number 4, Sarah Winchester spent over $5.5 million to build this house back in the early 1900s, which today would be equivalent to over $150 million. And lastly, Sarah Winchester built this house as a labyrinth or a maze in order to confuse the ghosts. She would sleep in a different bedroom every single night in fear that the ghost would follow her or eventually find her. Don't forget to drop a follow and a like for more, and comment about what you want to hear about next. Almost everybody knows about the Queen Mary, but why is it so haunted? For starters, it actually served in World War II, previously known as the Grey Ghost. It was a super indestructible ship and everybody knew it. Even Adolf Hitler offered $230,000 for anybody that could sink it. There's even a story of it crashing head on with another ship and split it right in half, killing a little over 100 people on the other ship, which is said that the spirits on the other ship are also said to haunt the Queen Mary. On top of that, there is also said to be a murder in room B340, which is also known as the most haunted room on the ship. Supposedly, the whole entire B deck is haunted. There is also a person who was crushed by one of the engine cellar doors, number 13. There's also lots of stories of children who had drowned in the pool, and almost 50 people died on it alone when it was just serving as a luxury cruise liner. Let me know what you guys want to talk about next down in the comments, because I'm low-key thinking about talking about Harry Houdini, because he has a very interesting story. And don't forget to follow and like and stay spooked. A brief history and some unknown facts about famous magician Harry Houdini. Harry Houdini was actually born Eric Weiss. His family would call him Harry for short, and he looked up to another magician who had a last name of Houdin. He kind of put the two together and outburst Harry Houdini. For as much as he loved all things creepy, he was a huge skeptic on psychics. He believed a lot of them were fake and really actually wanted to find a real one, and would pay $10,000 for anybody who could talk to his past loved ones. He would also try to debunk different superstitions and haunted locations. Previously, when I was talking about the Winchester Mystery House, that was actually one place he couldn't debunk and was truly mystified by it. Houdini passed away on Halloween 1926, and his last words were, "I'm tired of fighting." However, before he left, he did say that once he dies, he would have a code word of the name Rosabelle for anybody who would try to summon him. His wife tried every year for 10 years in a row to try and make contact with him, but unfortunately couldn't. And when she did finally give up, she said 10 years is long enough to wait for any man. Let me know what person, event, or place you want to hear about next down in the comments. And don't forget to drop a follow and a like. Stay spooked. I'm sure a lot of you guys have probably heard of the Brothers Grimm. And if you haven't, they're actually the main inspiration for a lot of Disney stories. And these are the dark and twisted originals. Starting off with Cinderella. We all know the story of her going to the ball, losing her slipper, coming home at midnight. But in the original story, when the prince arrives at Cinderella's house, her stepmother orders her daughters to cut off their toes so that they could fit into the shoe. But that plan did not work out, and Cinderella actually does end up with the prince. However, during Cinderella and the prince's wedding, pigeons come down and devour and peck out the stepsister's eyes. Keep in mind, Walt Disney read this and was all like, let's make it a children's movie. Be sure to let me know in the comments what version you like better. And don't forget to follow and like. Have a blessed day. These guys are the Brothers Grimm, responsible for a lot of Disney classics. This is the true dark origin behind Sleeping Beauty. In the original, Sleeping Beauty pricks her finger, falls into eternal sleep, saved by true love's kiss, and they live happily ever after. Except not in the Brothers Grimm. In the original story, Sleeping Beauty is not woken up with a kiss, but by the birth of her twins. Because this prince got her pregnant in her sleep and then leaves because he's a married man. When I tell you my mouth dropped when I read that, and when Sleeping Beauty finally does wake up, the prince's wife comes in and tries to kill both Sleeping Beauty and her twins. But the king stops her and forces Sleeping Beauty to marry the guy who gave her twins unconsensually. I don't even want to ask what version you guys would like better. But yeah, let me know if you've heard this before. Don't forget to follow, like, have a blessed day, and stay safe. Dark origin stories inspired by the Brothers Grimm, Beauty and the Beast. In Disney's version, Belle lives in a luxurious castle with a beast that kidnaps her with talking utensils, but she finds the good in him and everything turns out fine. But here's the twisted original story behind Beauty and the Beast. After Belle is kidnapped by the beast, she convinces him to let her visit her sisters for a week. When her sisters see that she is covered in luxurious jewelry, they get jealous and try to convince Belle to stay longer with them, with the intention that her delay going back to the beast will drive him mad, so that when she returns he will mutilate her. I honestly think that these versions should be turned into their own movies. Don't forget to follow, like, and comment what version you like better. Have a blessed day. We all know the story of the Little Mermaid. She gives up her voice to the sea witch so that she can have legs for a day to go on the shore and find love. But have you ever heard of the really dark origin story? In the original story of The Little Mermaid, in the small fine print in the agreement that she makes with Ursula, it says that her legs will always hurt as if she's gonna be walking on knives constantly. Which does kind of show that in the Disney version. But when the pain got too much, Prince Eric leaves her to find another person. And Ariel is so sad that she throws herself off a cliff into the sea and turns into sea foam. And honestly, as heartbreaking as it is, I would really like to see that version in a movie. Don't forget to follow, like, and comment if you've heard this one before. Have a blessed day. This is the terrifying tale of the Smiling Man. A man was walking alone one evening when he noticed a man standing behind him dancing along the street. He assumed that the man was just some random drunk and decided to cross the street. When he took a look behind him, the man was right behind him yet again with his head back, cackling. So he decided to walk faster as the smiling man got closer and closer to him. When he turned the corner, he saw the smiling man standing right in front of him. The smiling man then stopped dancing but still kept this creepy smile on his face. Staring blankly for a few seconds, the smiling man then started sprinting after him. The other guy lived to tell the tale but refuses to walk home alone anymore. This story has actually been reported all around the United States and even the United Kingdom. So keep a lookout for the smiling man. He could be right behind you. Don't forget to follow, like, and comment what urban legend you want to hear about next. This is Peg Entwistle, one of the most infamous urban legends in Hollywood. She is an early 1900s actress who is said to haunt the Hollywood sign, which, just a little fun fact, used to be called Hollywoodland. And when a career-ending review came in about one of her films, she climbed to the top of the H on the Hollywood sign and threw herself off of it. She is now known as the Lady in White and is said to haunt the surrounding area. She'll often appear and show herself to other people hiking in the off-limits area around the Hollywood sign where she once died. But instead of seeing this face, they see a woman with a skeletal face and deep hollowed out eyes. It's also said that if people hike this area alone at night, she'll somehow influence them to throw themselves off the H and meet the same fate that she did. Be sure to follow, like, and comment what urban legend you want to hear next. Have a blessed day. A list of the craziest things that kids have ever said to their parents. One time in December, her mom was setting up decorations for the Christmas tree. Her daughter looked at the tree and said, it'll take 11 days. Exactly 11 days later, an intruder came in, robbed their house, and stole all of their Christmas decorations off the tree. A little boy went to go visit his grandmother in the hospital. He told her that she looked very old and will probably die soon, and then proceeded to look at the clock. That night, the grandmother actually passed away. Another mom shared a story of how when her daughter was really young, every single time that she would go outside while it was raining, she would always say that it smelled like God. Which is pretty interesting considering that there are a lot of people out there that do believe that the smell of rain actually does smell like heaven. A father once shared a story of how his son would say, if you don't like somebody, you can just get rid of them with a knife. He's not wrong. I know it's been a while since I posted something creepy, so thank you very much for sticking with me, and lots more creepy stuff to come. Have a blessed day. So I'm more than positive that all of us have heard the song Rockabye Baby at some point. Maybe someone sang it to you as a child, maybe you've heard of it in school. But you know what they didn't teach you in school? The really weird origin story. It's already pretty weird to think about putting a baby on a treetop, and the wind essentially knocks the cradle down. I don't know how that's supposed to be soothing, but it's actually about an England king named King James II. It was actually believed that he had a little boy smuggled into the birthing room of his wife's pregnancy, supposedly so he could claim a Catholic heir and install an absolute monarchy. And the supposed wind that knocks the baby's cradle down is the Protestant wind blowing from the Netherlands, where James' son-in-law eventually captured the crown during the Glorious Revolution. So essentially it's about a fake birth starting a religious war. That's what you're singing your child to sleep to. Let me know if I should do more of these videos, what lullaby should I do next? And don't forget to follow and like, maybe check me out on YouTube or Instagram, and I'll see you guys on the flip side. Have a blessed day. Remember when we were all younger and we'd like gather around in a circle holding hands like a freaking cult singing Ring Around the Rosie? Well, we were all singing about the bubonic plague. What's now known as a children's nursery rhyme has a way darker past. Let's break down some of the lyrics. Ring Around the Rosie describes the red circles that you would get on your skin when you had the plague. They would later turn into black boils that would form on the skin, usually in the neck, armpit, or groin area. Pocketful of posies refers to the lack of knowledge they had at the time. It was believed that diseases were spread through bad smell, so people would walk around holding flowers to their face. The creepy plague doctor mask actually has a long nose so it could hold flowers so you could smell them, to protect yourself from the disease. Ashes, Ashes is actually about the burning of the dead bodies from the victims who died from the plague. And lastly, We All Fall Down is because the majority of Europeans actually did die from the plague. Not so sweet and innocent as some people think it is. Don't forget to follow, like, and leave a comment which one you want to know about next. Also check me out on Instagram or YouTube in my bio. Have a blessed day. Have you ever stopped to wonder what we're actually singing about when we're singing nursery rhymes? Cause I guarantee you, they're way darker than you might think. Anybody remember Baba Black Sheep? Most scholars would agree that it's actually about the tax on wool in 1275. However, the use of the color black in the word master has led some to believe that it has a more racial message. Its political correctness was actually called into question again in the 20th century, even leading some schools to ban the song entirely. However, other schools just switch out the word black for something less offensive. And in 2011, news.com.au reported that they much preferred Baba Rainbow Sheep. And this is such a great lesson too, to just be cognizant about what you're saying, because sometimes you don't know what you're always talking about or singing about. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to follow, like, and comment what one you want me to do next. And feel free to check out my Instagram or my YouTube in my bio. Plus I have merch. Have a blessed day, guys. Stay safe. Everybody remembers Jack and Jill went up a hill, but their relationship didn't. This is the allegedly true creepy story of Jack and Jill. It was supposed about two people in a small village in 1697. Two local residents supposedly tried to hide their affairs from their partners by doing it on a hill, but supposedly did not get their fairy tale ending. Legend has it that Jack actually did die by falling off the hill and hitting his head on a rock. And what they mean by Jill came tumbling after supposedly alludes to her dying during childbirth. Although there is another theory about King Louis and Marie Antoinette who were both beheaded, and that Jill tumbling right after was supposed to be the beheading of Marie Antoinette since she did get her head cut off afterwards. Weird to think about. Don't forget to follow, like, and comment what nursery rhyme you want to hear the backstory of next. And check me out on YouTube or Instagram in my bio. See you on the flip side and have a blessed day.